Hello and good morning. This is the Laurel Leaf Networking very first, oh, I should be looking at the camera, shouldn't I? Laurel Leaf Networking very first live Facebook sort of webinar live, whatever it is, to really kind of help small businesses get online and do what they need to do online. And the first one that Laurel very kindly asked me to do, and I'm going to do it on how to think like a search engine. So how do you think like a search engine? I think I'm going to leave, actually it's 12:30, it's just gone, so maybe I'll leave it for 5 minutes. Is there anybody there yet? Might leave it for a few minutes to see if anybody else comes on board. So let me know if anybody's there. Hands up. Is this working? Ah, good. Is it working, Laurel? Can you can hear me and see me and it's all working okay? Yeah? Testing, testing, testing. Great. I've got you there. Can I type in it? No, I can't type anything. I can see what people write. So just sort of testing. So if you ask me a question, then I can answer it because I'll see it coming up on the stream there. Okay. It's 100% working. Thank you, Laurel. That's good to know. Is there anybody else there? Hi, Alison. Good to know you're there too. Shall I wait for it? Laurel, do you want to just say yay or nay? Shall I wait for a couple of minutes? Oh, no. I'm going. Don't want that one. Shall I wait for a couple of minutes and see if anybody else comes on board before I start completely? Hi, Catherine. Catherine, you've emailed me. We've got an appointment, haven't we? Brilliant. Excellent. Alison, yeah, good. I'm just waiting to see if anybody else comes on board. Yeah, all right, I'll switch my phone off. Sorry. I never have my phone on. Never. Or at least it's never alive. Okay, I'll just carry on. So, okay. I'm going to talk to you today. I've got some notes here, so I will put them in place as well. It's not really notes, it's just sort of make sure I don't miss anything. So how to think like a search engine. I think the first thing that I always say to people is, hi Richard. Laurel, stop laughing, please. That doesn't help. The first thing I want to talk about is what Google are looking for. So if you think about Google's mission, what's Google's mission in life? Google's mission in life is to deliver us with the best websites for our search. So how do they do that? If I do a little bit of historic stuff, back at the beginning, ages ago, when the internet first began, about 10 years ago, would you believe, or 10 years when sort of like Google came around, you used to be able to like spam your website with keywords. People used to write, like they could write networking North London, networking North London, networking North London a million times on their page at the bottom, turn it white, and Google would think, great, this is a great website for networking North London. But then they started sort of getting some mathematics in place, and those mathematics are called algorithms. So that's what they tend to use, or that's what they do use now, to ascertain whether a website, what we do, all of our stuff is good for the internet. And their whole purpose from that very first sort of time was to try and get as much human intervention as possible, because yeah, you know, you could otherwise you could just spam your website and, you know, tell them that you were brilliant by putting what your keywords were 100 million times. But now they look at lots and lots of other different things. So I think one of the first things I'm going to touch upon is the keywords, because keyword research is absolutely critical. If you don't know the top 10 keywords, what people are searching for in your industry, then you're not doing your business any justice. You need to know what your keywords are. 100%. I mean, if you know the top 50, then go down to the top 20, then down to the top 10. And those top 10, I usually tell people, get the top 5 and tattoo them on your forehead. And every time you write something, be conscious of maybe using those keywords in place. So keyword research is basically a crystal ball into the minds of your customers. And if you think about it, what you do, how you work on the internet, you type something in, how is, what is, how do you, things like that. So when you're typing something in for you to find something, you want the top website for that. You're expecting Google or any of the other search engines to deliver you with the best, most relevant site for your search. And the one that wins and the one that gets there is the one that has done everything they can to make sure that Google understand that they are the best website for your search. So reverse that now, and you now as your business have to do everything you can to let Google know that you are the best website for their search. So it all starts off with the keyword research. And it's quite an eye-opener when you start really digging into keyword research. I know it says keywords, but it's also obviously about key phrases, because we'd never just type in a word. We wouldn't just type in networking. We would type in best networking North London, for example, and then hopefully we'd find Laurel Leaf networking. So it's about key phrases and drilling in and digging down and seeing what people are typing in, and understanding what they're typing in to reach people in your business and what your competitors are doing as well, so that they're getting up the rankings. So that's it in its simplest format. And doing keyword research, Google provide a tool. It's called a keyword planner tool. And, you know, they will tell you, they will give you some statistics. They'll give you some basics, but then there are some pro versions of things out there. I use something called Keyword XP. So it's a paid for one, but it's not very expensive. It's very good. There's also one that has been around for a long time that I used years ago called Word Tracker. That's a little bit more expensive. It went through a really expensive stage, and I didn't use it then. So, but now I was looking the other day, and it's coming up a little bit more reasonable, something like about $27 a month, so you can do professional keyword research. But it is really important that you do that. To give you a quick example of something, back in 2002, I started a company with a friend of mine called propertiesabroad.com, and a year or two after we started it, Yahoo bought out a keyword tool called Overture. And it was brilliant. It was really simple, and it was one of the best keyword tools ever, and it was like one of the first, but that went by the wayside. But what it did was, when I did a bit of keyword research, I found out that 4 times more people were searching for the word overseas than they were for the word abroad, i.e. property overseas and property abroad. So guess what? I went out and bought domain names with the keyword overseas rather than abroad. So 4 times more people were searching for property overseas than property abroad. So, you know, it gives you really cool information like that you can sort of use that to inform your name of your business. You can use it to inform a whole load of things. So keyword research underpins everything. So before I even start, I think keyword research is one of the biggest tips that I would do. Get your top keywords written down, know them, understand them. And if you have a seasonal business, so for example, if you have a card business, if you do greetings cards, then obviously your keywords are going to change from season to season. So you'd need to keep doing that keyword research. So maybe it might be worth investing in one of those tools that you can keep changing, keep doing, so you know that you're integrating all the right keywords into everything that you do. So that's keyword research. So that's what Google loves. So that's one of the first things that, you know, you really need to be getting those keywords into everything you do. When you post, what you post on your website, what you post on the internet, everything is all about those keywords, and that's how Google will find you in its simplest format. There's lots of other things that you can do as well. There's sort of that, but I'll go into a little bit. I'll just cover it very sort of in the basic format. So let me just look at my list here, make sure. Is that all right? Is everybody listening? Is everybody hearing this okay? Any questions on keywords? Any questions on keywords? Anyway, okay. Right. So there's lots of things that, what do I think of AdWords? AdWords are great for for a fast, furious sort of, if you're looking for organic rankings. Great, thanks Laurel. If you're looking for organic rankings, then that's what sort of your optimization of your website and everything that you do will underpin. If you're looking for a fast, quick, getting up the top, you know, sort of being in those AdWords play, you know, the top and the sponsored links, the advertised links, then obviously AdWords is something that you would use. It can be expensive. It's very expensive if you do it wrong. And I would suggest, well, I suggest on all counts, it can be expensive if you do it wrong. So you need
the AdWords too, don't they?
Sorry, my husband's saying something.
Sometimes they look beyond the AdWords. They don't like the AdWords.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, it's quite right. People do AdWords, but people don't. So we don't tend to click on the AdWords. Yeah. So for example, I prefer to click on the first organic listing in Google, because I know that they're there on merit and they haven't just paid for it. And also, if somebody who's got a high meal ticket in their product. For example, we had a client who did wall coating, and it was like about 10,000. It's about £10,000 a shop for a client. So it's worth him to spend £1,000 a month on AdWords, but it is very expensive. It's expensive to do it right, and it's also expensive to do it wrong. And you're bidding against other people. So, you know, the higher the competition in your industry, the more expensive that keyword is going to be to get up the top. But underpin it always. I think a lot of people who do AdWords are working on their organic SEO in the background. So yeah, I hope that helps. Sorry, Catherine, you're saying, what about local SEO, where you see your business just below them? What about local SEO? Ask me, just give me a little bit more information on that question, and I'll come back to it in a minute, if that's okay. Anyway, let me go back to talking about what Google actually sees and how all the different things that they want to consider, how they're thinking, what they rank you for. And as I said, it's all about you know, finding those keywords in the right places. So where are those right places? So in the content on your website, there's a lot you can do. If you are blogging, and I think maybe if you sort of understood the first thing that I said, the important thing is, if you're blogging, the more you're blogging on topic and on topics about what you are about, then you're going to find yourself ranking a lot better. So you can use keywords in headings, subheadings, in the copy, without spamming your own blog. If you're for example in you do nails, you're in the nail art business, you love doing nail art, well, you could, if you wrote a good blog on how to find the best nail art, and you had nail art written in a heading, in a subheading, and a couple of times throughout the copy, and you then submitted your site regularly to Google for them to index it. And when I say Google, I'm talking about all the search engines. I'm not just saying Google, but Google is the main one, as we know. So that's why I talk about Google. You will be able to get that particular blog indexed by Google. So it will be indexed for best nail art, for example. So if you repeat that word and put it in the right places and in the right places on the blog with the right headings, then ultimately Google will index it. It's not immediate. Okay, nothing to do with SEO is immediate. You have to earn it. You have to. I was printing something. So yeah, so getting the right headings in the right places is really, really important, and that's one of the things that Google reads. What's that? Oh, sorry. Okay, the next thing will be how your website is structured. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Google actually can see the robots when they go out to look at your website. They can see how your website is actually structured. So if it's got a good hierarchy, if it's structured properly, in other words, you've got the right keywords in your menu, you've got the right code, it's clean, all that kind of stuff. And I know that's a very technical thing, and I don't want to make it technical. But that is a consideration. So when I'm sort of saying, I'm talking about how to think like a search engine, that's one of the things that Google thinks about. It thinks about how your website is structured. So it's important that if you've got somebody who's built your website or is building your website, that it is structured in a good way. It's easily, they can look at the what we call the information architecture, which is literally that, the information, the architecture of that information that you have on your website, that it's clear, people can find what they want easily, it's not muddled, it's not confusing. So, you know, there's a lot of companies who spend a lot of money into just planning carefully that information architecture. Not if it's a simple website, obviously that isn't a massive consideration, but it's always good to know and to think about it, that is one of the things that Google does consider and see. So if we've got some questions here. Just below the AdWords you have a map where I assume Google listing. How do you get to the top of that? So okay, Catherine, it's quite a long answer to that, but you have to have, there's something called Google for Business. There's a business Google page, and you have to get registered, and you have to make sure you've got your PIN in the right place and be busy on Google. I can talk to you about that separately. So if you want to shoot me an email, or when we chat, we can go into that in more detail. But Google have got all the things in place that help you get up there. But again, you've got to earn it. With Google, it's all about earning where you are. You've got to have the right things in place. You've got to be consistent. You've got to constantly be basically positioning yourself as a thought leader in your industry. So it's a few years, about 2 or 3 years ago, I think the algorithms with Google changed so that they really truly understand who's busy out there, who's churning out the best content, who's connecting that content with their website, and on it goes with that. And content is becoming, you know, content was king, content always has been king, but it's even more important nowadays, because that's how Google can tell that you are the best. And if you're writing good content, you're structuring it in the right way, and you're putting it out consistently, then you will start climbing the rankings without a shadow of a doubt. So, which leads me actually to talking about content. I wanted to talk about content because a lot of our clients, what they do say, they'll learn about it, they'll say, yeah, no, I understand, I need to put out good content and I need to do content, but what do I say? I don't know what to say. So I did write a blog once called How to Become, or went on this sort of rampage about becoming content conscious. So becoming content conscious, it's all around you. You go to a meeting with a client, any questions that those clients ask, or any questions that you feel people are asking a lot in your industry, that is content. So if somebody's asking a lot of questions, how to, what do I do, how do I do this, how do I do that to you, then that's what you answer. You start writing blogs. You start making a list of all the kind of blogs that you could write, all the kind of articles that you could put out there, posts, small posts, images, things like that. And if you put it out enough and you put it out in a well-structured way, then Google will like that. Monica, what is good content? Yes, that's a good question. Good content is stuff that answers the problems that people have in your industry. So all the problems that you are there in your business to solve, if you put out good content is stuff that solves those problems. And, you know, there's a multitude of it. And you could even just write about, depending on what industry you're in, you could write about some things a bit fun, you know, fun. We all like to have fun as well. So, you know, keep it. I have keep it natural, keep it fun, keep it informative. So fun, informative, all that kind of stuff. I've got 4 words that I've always used on the internet, and for about 10 years, but I just sort of came to those 4 words and I've stuck with those 4 words. So it's about being authentic. It's about being appropriate, which controls authentic. And it's about sustainable. So it's sustainability and fun. Keep it fun. Yeah, informative, and in some things it's serious, but at the same time, you can always inject a little bit of fun, even if it's a very serious topic or something that you're covering. Mix it up a bit. Make a list. What I've done, I've got a folder which is blogs, and in that folder, every time I think of something that I could possibly write about, or I hear something, or it comes as a thought, I will open up a document and I'll give it a title of that particular thought that I was thinking about. And then when I'm in the mood, or when you're sitting on the train or something, I can write a blog between Cockfosters and King's Cross. It's about 45 minutes. So therefore, you can actually just whack out a blog. Sit on your phone, write it on your phone, jot down some notes, but be content conscious, okay? And it's all around you. If you just open your ears and eyes to it, whether it's images, posting up an image, etc., etc. So actually, talking about images, it's really important. Images, your website, images that you put up, make sure when you take a photograph and you think of putting it up online, change the name of that photo. Do not post up DC1565, whatever, with the date, okay? Coming back to your keywords, if you know your keywords, change that image and use one of your keywords in the name of that image. Number 1. Number 2, I've actually done a video on this, but that's another story. 2, reduce the size of that image. Do not upload an image to your website. I think on social it's a bit different because they kind of crunch it a bit automatically. But if you're going to upload it to your website or into a blog, do not upload an image that is 1 megabyte, 2 megabytes as it comes out of your camera. So you must do a bit of work on those images because Google hates large images. It slows down your website, and that's another thing that actually is you lose lots of brownie points with Google for having a very heavy website. In other words, if you've got 10 images up there that are all 2 megabytes each, that's 20 megabytes, and it slows down. When have you ever been to a website and when you go on there and the images and they just sort of slowly come in like that? It's probably because it's a 2 megabyte image or something that's just come straight out of the camera and somebody's plonked it up. There are loads of tools out there. If you just search image optimizer, you can upload that image into the image optimizer. You can literally click on it, upload your image, and it'll crunch it and optimize it so that it's ready for your website. You really don't want an image on your website, even if it's full screen, to be more than about 100, 120, 150 maximum kilobytes. So if you think about it, if you've got an image that comes out your camera that's 1 megabyte, if you've got then 10 images for 100 kilobytes, you can have 10 images on your website for the same price, if you like, as 1 image at 1 megabyte. So change the name of your image and reduce the size of your image. The internet does not need images at a high resolution. If you're going to print that image, different story. But if you're going to put it up online, you reduce it and you optimize it. Yeah, Catherine, the resolution is, it depends. If you think of a screen size, if you look at your computer, if you go to your display options or whatever it is on your computer, it'll tell you what size your screen is. A huge screen, my screen's quite big, I've got a large screen, it's probably about 1600 pixels by 1000, 1200 pixels. And on the internet, the size of the image is 72 dpi, that's dots per inch. For print, it needs to be 300 dpi, but for the screen, only 72 dpi. So if you've got an image and it's 2,500 pixels by 1,600 pixels and it's 300 dpi, like as not, that'll be 1 or 2 megabytes. So you can reduce it right down so that, you know, it always, it goes on your website. It's got the right name, it's got the right weight, and that's a really, really, really important thing to do with images. And it's something that a lot of people don't do, and it's actually easier than you think. You don't need Photoshop, you don't need anything. Just search for image optimizer on the internet and you'll get loads and loads of different things that are free. You can upload your image, rename it, reduce it, and then you put it up on the website. So I hope that's helped on images, and that's really, really important. Enrique Montero, are you Spanish? I can tell you in Spanish if you like, because I speak Spanish. But anyway, does Google recognize does Google recognize contact on social media, Facebook, Twitter, videos? Okay, you mean content. I think you might be meaning, does it recognize content? Yes, they do. Google about 2 years ago changed their algorithms, and they've done a deal with Facebook, Twitter, and everything like that, and they do recognize your content on Facebook and Twitter. However, having said that, if you, Facebook itself, if you're constantly linking, all the stuff that you post up is linking out of Facebook, links away from Facebook, they will not show that post as much as they will a post that sticks within Facebook. They don't want you to go out of Facebook. So they're a bit proprietary in that respect. The best thing that you can do, and I think a lot of people now, we find they've got a website. We predominantly build WordPress websites, but they've got a website and they don't know how to use it. So therefore, they've got the website there and it sits there. They use their social media because they've now got to understand and how to use the social media, but what they aren't able to do is link the whole thing together. Now, the most important thing, not just on Facebook, but the most important thing is that if you've put up that content, you've put up those blogs, that you post them out. So you post up blogs, you post them up to your website, and then you send the links out to draw people back. So the most important thing is getting that content on your website, because that is what Google reads most. Okay, and Google Plus, obviously, Google Plus, YouTube. They own Google. Google own YouTube, so putting up videos. YouTube is now one of the biggest search engines out there. So make sure you've got a plan to maybe create some videos like this, you know, creating videos, Facebook Live. It's all content, and it's all good stuff that Google like, and it's, you know, it gets you up there. As I said before, it positions you as a thought leader. To do professional SEO, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of things, you know, posting up articles, article directories, but one of the biggest things and one of the first things that Google got quite sort of, you know, serious about was links back to your website from other people's websites. And that's where you gain authority. That's where Google recognizes and sees human intervention. So it's human intervention. They know that you're good enough for somebody else to have put up a link on their website back to you. But, here's the but, it has to be a relevant website. In other words, if you're in the beauty industry, you cannot put, and I put a link up on my website to your website, they think, well, that's a bit incongruous, because, you know, that's a digital website building, digital marketing website. Why would they be linking to a beauty website? But if a beauty blogger, for example, put a link up to your website and said, go and see them, and they've got a big authority, they've got high authority, they've got a lot of traffic, and Google, they've got a high page rank. So, you know, Google gives all our websites page ranks as well. So if you've got a link on somebody's website that's got a high page rank back to your website, then Google will give you some brownie points for that as well. So that's another way to do it. There's lots and lots of different sort of little sort of bits that go to make up really, really powerful search engine optimization, but it's about getting the basics in place and understanding content creation, understanding how to structure that content, structuring that blog correctly. I'm going to, as a sort of spin-off from this, I'm going to actually write a little sort of fact sheet and a sort of a document to cover some of these points. So I think Laurel will send the link out so that you can sign up, and it's not written yet, but it will be shortly. I hope to get it done by the weekend so I can send it all out to all of you. So are there any other questions at the moment? I know you said about resolution. Have I covered the on resolution? Any of word counts, Jordan? Yeah, word counts. Minimum 300 words, maximum 500. You only have to write 300 to 500 words. It's not a lot. That's why I said you can sort of write if you've sort of got your topic and you understand your topic and you really make a list of all the kinds of blogs you could possibly write, answering people's problems, the problems that you effectively answer within your business anyway, I should think. Then, you know, 300 to 500 words shouldn't be a problem. But make sure you structure that blog properly when you put it up, and, you know, structure your content when you post up onto Facebook. Find your tags, which will effectively be your keywords. So it's keyword research, get that right. Getting good content right. Blogging, posting, closing the gap between your website and your social media. So don't ignore your website and just do social media, and vice versa. You need to integrate the whole thing to make it really work and for Google to really love you. So yeah, I hope I've covered enough and not too much here. And let me know if you've got any other questions. And if not, then as I said, Laurel, if you can send out that link that I gave you before, then you can just go and just fill in your details, and as soon as I've got the document ready, I'll send it out. So any other questions? So I think I've babbled on enough, and hopefully it's been of use. So I don't know what lead into the next Facebook Live for Laurel Leaf is going to be. But this is me, Carol Mann from We Get Digital. Our website's www.wegetdigital.co.uk. And if you've got any questions at all, please just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you. Just say finish. Thank you. Thanks, Monica. Thanks, Laurel. Thanks, everybody. Bye.